A shout out to Ge.Holla and
Hey, GeHolla, G.Holla.
Ge.Holla, Charlemagne the God here, man.
All y'all said entertainer. Shout out my guy Ge.Holla of
Welcome back. I think for all my special panel co-hosts that have called in today, we do have the man, the myth, the legend, the master, the great griot, Mr. Eric Jerome Dickey. He is on the line. Eric, let me tell you, brother, I appreciate you, man. I'm going to tell you, you came into this conscious reality and you set the Melanin Nation on fire with your books and your reading, your knowledge, and information. And I know that you are the hey, man, you are. You're a great reincarnation of the past. I know great teachers like you. I know you came to this planet more than once. I don't know if you believe in that type of thing.
Man.
I definitely believe that you are a resurrection of something great that we've seen on the walls in Kemet in Africa. I know you are.
Oh my God! This is the best intro ever. Best intro ever. They like me. They really like me. You know. do a little Sally Fields up in there. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm just trying to enjoy doing what I do while I do it, man. It may sound like a simple way of summing it up, but you know, it's this thing when you get to actually do something that you really enjoy doing, and you can be creative in the way that you want to be creative. I was having a conversation with a writer yesterday, and we were both saying like the best part of it is that part when you're just creating, and it's just you before all the editing and before it goes out into the world, where you just sit there with an idea, you work it, and and everybody has the same thing. It's like you're on page 1, and it's, how do I get to page 320? You know, it seems so far away. You know what I mean? But it's poco a poco, little by little. You know what I mean? But
right.
but you have an idea, and you stick to it. You're dedicated to it, and you see it through. I mean, I've had a couple of books that I was working on it, and I was like, am I going to finish this book? I mean, because it just seemed, for whatever reason, it just seemed so difficult at the time. I guess for some that would be writer's block, but for me it could have been in a couple of situations it was bad planning so far as the plot, and then I finally figured it out probably 2 or 3 months later, and then and then wrapped up the project. But it's I don't know, man. I didn't see this career coming. I used to be an engineer. Worked aerospace for 9 years, and then had this interest in creative writing. Started taking the classes at a junior college. I started out, I started taking classes at a junior college. Well, actually, you know what's funny? Because it was a friend of mine named Jackie who she wanted to take classes at a junior college out here in California. And she asked me to go take the class with her because it was on Monday nights, and I was usually free on Monday nights. And she wanted me to go with her so she wouldn't be the only black person in the classroom.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I went begrudgingly. I really didn't want to give up my Monday night. You know what I mean? I did, and then I got into this class, and it was like I was at home. It felt like I was at the place I was supposed to be. There was a lot of stuff I didn't understand the terms technically, but everything that was presented to me made sense. I was already doing short stories and stuff like this, but it just really, wow, man. And just from there, I just went from class to class to class. Joined an organization called International Black Writers and Artists out here in Los Angeles. Organization I'm still a part of. I still take stuff during workshop, just like I did day one, and and from there, they gave me a partial scholarship to go to a UCLA extension program to take creative writing. So I jumped into a very intense pond, I mean, with, oh gosh, man, it's like you're in a room. And again, I had the same feeling that my friend Jackie had, because I was at UCLA and I would be the only African American in the classroom, and it'd be 12, 13, 14 people writing 14 different genres.
Wow.
But the good thing about it was it made you read stuff by other people that you wouldn't normally read.
Okay.
And it made you read genres that you wouldn't normally read. And you would see the thing that good storytelling has in common. Character development, movement of plot. It doesn't matter if you've got dragons or guns or boy meets girl, boy loses girl. It all has the same elements of pulling in the reader, them not being bored.
That's right. Engaging. I got you.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be engaging in some sort of way. I mean, and some writers would just have style, and they could just write a grocery list, and just the way they wrote would just make you just want to read it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And then I would get some writers. They could write a whole bunch of pages, but it was just never really interesting because they were very almost like they were too technical. Like
like computer reading, like the coding and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, it's almost
analytical.
Like, you know what? It's like you get some cats who come in who are writing from the heart and haven't had they've had some training, but not a lot, and not so much training where it just totally disrupts their style. And it's just so engaging to read, the way they write, the rawness of it, what they write about. Then you get somebody who comes in and they're just so technical about every sentence, and you're reading and go like, people don't really speak that way. I mean, I get what you're doing, but then you get somebody who comes in and, I mean, this is really basic, but you get somebody that comes in and their character go, "What's up, dog?" And you go, "Oh, this is interesting to read." As opposed to one go like, "Hello, how are you? How was your night?" You kind of who talk? You know what I mean? You get somebody who comes in, and I think the word is authentic. You know what I mean? Because I would get that a lot. They were like, "Oh my gosh, your dialogue, you write the way people talk." Yeah. I mean, I got black people talking to each other. They're going to code switch later on in the book, but this is kind of how. but it was really interesting also being in that environment where you realize that I got 13, 14 white people or non-African American people who have never ever picked up anything by anybody, any person of color to read it. And so sometimes what I presented was shocking.
Oh, it's
it's like cause I had workshop parts. Oh gosh, man, please, man. I mean, if you're, I mean, it could be like, I mean, it didn't have to be anything super extreme. I mean, but it's like writing about a black person and police show up and there's this tension. And the black person, the black person knows that they haven't done anything, but there's a possibility I could be arrested for doing nothing. And white people in the class going like, I don't get it. I mean, why would that even happen? It's like, geez, man, you have no idea what my reality is like. You know what I mean? But,
totally disconnected.
I mean, but black people reading it, we get it.
You
don't have to do anything. I mean, there's a whole bunch of black people in jail because they were outside.
Yeah.
They
look like the stuff.
You were outside. If you hadn't been outside,
you would be free right
you were
now.
Outside. It was like a bad game of tag. You were outside, they saw you, you're in, You're at tag. You're at. I mean, but and it's really been it was really, even for me, I would read about other cultures. It's like Jewish writers and you know, and I would learn as well. I mean, and it was just oh gosh, because you know, you do one of these classes and then people turn in 10 pages each, and then so you've got 140 pages to read within the next few days, and not just read, but you have to critique. You know, which was, I mean, it was a really good learning experience. I mean, I learned some stuff to not do. I learned some stuff that I watched somebody else do it, and it would work for them, but I couldn't. But that technique wouldn't necessarily work for me. It's sort of like the comics, like Jerry Seinfeld can do observational humor, and it works for him. Tiffany Haddish probably can't just sit up, you know, probably couldn't do observational humor, and it would work for her and her personality, you know.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it was just it was a fascinating journey. The growth, the trial and error. I mean, because you guys see a lot of stuff that that was published, but you know, I got stacks of stuff over here that I wrote. I was like, what was I thinking? I was like, geez, I don't want to show this to Ed, but I save it. You know what I mean? Got a couple of stories that were just they were just going on and on and on. I'm like, okay, so what is the point of this story? But you know, that's part of. It's part of the process. You know what I mean? I'm quite sure Stephen King and John Grisham and J.K. Rowling probably has, you know, just a bunch of stuff that didn't make it into, you know, J.K. probably has a bunch of ideas that didn't make it into Harry Potter because I thought it was a good idea. Probably not. You know what I mean?
That's right. No, I agree.